So here is the syllabus for you. So here is the unit 6, and it is based on thinking, intelligence and creativity, and everything starting from associationism in the very first subtopic and ending at metacognitive regulation we have touched in the previous video. And in today's video we will discuss about the highlighted portion here. So you can see that here we have intelligence, and the theories given by Spearman, Thurston, Jensen, Cattell, Gardner, Sternberg, Goldman, Dasker and Perilla. So today we will discuss about these topics, and we will touch upon creativity and the various theories on creativity such as given by Torrance, Getzels and Jackson, Guilford, Wallach and Kogan, relationship between intelligence and creativity in the next video. And before starting, let me tell you that these videos are handy for quick revision before your examination, and if you want conceptual clarity, you can always refer to standard textbooks and materials. And also in the near future I will come up with classes with concept based content, but for now let's stick to the overview of the whole unit that we will do on a daily basis. Okay, so we will start with the very first theory, and it was given by Charles Spearman. And Spearman was a British psychologist. He gave his theory in 1927. His theory is often called the two-factor theory of intelligence. And according to his theory, intelligence task taps a broad general factor or G factor, as well as some other ability which are specific to that particular task, and these are known as S factor. For example, mathematical ability G consists of specific abilities such as addition, subtraction, multiplication, etc. So there are two factors, the general or the G factor and the specific or the S factors of intelligence. Then we come to the theory by Thurston, and it is also known as the MultiFactor Theory, and it was offered in the year 1938. The factors he identified were called primary mental abilities. So the PMA model of intelligence. PMA stands for primary mental ability. And it is called the multi-factor theory. Why? Because we have more than two factors out here, and the factors are verbal comprehension, word fluency, perceptual speed, memory, numerical ability, spatial ability, and reasoning. So there are a total of 7 factors in Thurston's theory of intelligence, and let me repeat, the factors are verbal comprehension, word fluency, perceptual speed, memory, numerical ability, spatial ability, and reasoning. Now we will study Jensens theory of intelligence, and it is quite a controversial theory. It was offered in the year 1969, and it was published in Harvard Educational Review. It is also known as the two-level theory of mental abilities, and as I have already mentioned that it sparked a debate, and it shows the association of heredity versus environment with intelligence. Now Jensen offered that there are clear-cut genetic differences in the average intelligence of races and social classes. So according to Jensen, there are differences in the average intelligence of races and social classes. That means intelligence differ across races and different social classes. Now he has given two genetically based levels of intelligence. One is the level 1, and it is also known as associative learning, and it consists of STM or the short-term memory, rote learning, attention, and simple associative skills. What about level 2? Level 2 is also known as cognitive learning, and it consists of abstract thinking, symbolic thought, conceptual learning, and use of language in problem solving. So as we can see that level 2 consists of some higher mental abilities, and level 1, the associative learning abilities such as short-term memory, rote learning, attention and simple associative skills. Now, the statement which actually sparked a debate was this, that level 1 ability is equally distributed across all racial and national groups. That means level 1 skills or the abilities are common. It can be found across all racial and national groups or the social classes out there. But level 2 ability is concentrated more in middle class Anglo-American populations than in the lower class black populations. So Jensen offered a demarcation, whereas it is accepted that intelligence is a concept which anyone can possess. An objective student of psychology will always believe that when it comes to intelligence, we cannot differentiate classes or races according to their level of intelligence. But Jensen had offered this controversial statement where he opined that level 2 ability or the higher mental abilities are concentrated more in middle class Anglo-American population than in the lower class black populations. So this particular statement of Jensen sparked the debate. So we will discuss about the theory in detail later. Now we will discuss Cattell's theory. Now he gave two types of intelligence, fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence. Fluid intelligence is often called GF in the short form, and here we have the capacity to think logically and solve problems in novel situations independent of acquired knowledge. That means fluid intelligence is all about the capacity to think logically and solve problems in novel situations or new situations, and this is independent of acquired knowledge. But what about crystallized intelligence or GC? This is the ability to use skills, knowledge and experiences. Example, general knowledge and vocabulary. So this is actually the acquired knowledge, but fluid intelligence is not acquired knowledge. Okay? And both the fluid intelligence and the crystallized intelligence are factors of general intelligence. So this is a very important point. If in the examination you were asked that out of fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence, which is the factor of general intelligence, so you will have to answer that both fluid intelligence and crystallized intelligence together are factors of general intelligence. And it was identified by Raymond Cattell and further developed by his student John L. Horn. Now we come to the theory by Gardner. He gave the theory of multiple intelligences, and it was published in the book Frames of Mind, The Theory of Multiple Intelligences, 1983. Now, what are the types of intelligences as listed by Gardner? We have the linguistic intelligence, where there are skills involved in the production of use of language, logical mathematical, skills in scientific thinking and problem solving, spatial, skills in forming visual images and patterns, musical, sensitivity to musical rhythms and patterns, bodily kinesthetic, using whole or portions of the body flexibly and creatively, interpersonal, sensitivity to subtle aspects of others' behaviors, intrapersonal, awareness of one's own feelings, motives and desires, naturalistic, sensitivity to the features of the natural world, existential, spiritual intelligence, and it was added in the year 1999. So it was a new edition, whereas the original theory was already published in the year 1983, but the spiritual intelligence or the existential form of intelligence was added in 1999. And one more type of intelligence is under consideration as told by Gardner in 2016, and that is the teaching pedagogical intelligence. Okay, and another person, Professor Nathan B. Adams, in 2004, he proposed another type of intelligence to be included in the multiple intelligences theory by Gardner, and that was digital intelligence. But it has not been included yet, but it has been proposed by Professor Nathan B. Adams in 2004. Now, if I ask you the examples of people who possess each type of intelligence. For example, linguistic intelligence. So you will be able to answer immediately that writers usually possess linguistic intelligence, and also other professions related to writing, reading, literature, or any form of linguistic work. And then we have logical mathematical, so engineers, mathematicians, scientists, statisticians, they possess logical mathematical intelligence. Then we have spatial intelligence. Again, engineers will possess spatial intelligence as well as architects, because they have the required skills to ascertain any information about spaces. Okay, but many people are weak in ascertaining features related to spaces, so those lack spatial intelligence. But the ones who possess spatial intelligence will do well in the field of architecture or civil engineering, etc. Then we have musical intelligence, and it's quite evident that musicians will possess musical intelligence. Then we have bodily kinesthetic, for example, athletes, okay, gymnasts, they will possess bodily kinesthetic, or anyone who is a trainer in the workout section, so they have intelligence regarding bodily kinesthetics. Then we have interpersonal, and if I ask you what type of intelligence do psychologists or anyone who is working in the field of psychology, counseling, etc., so they actually need to possess interpersonal intelligence, where one needs to have the awareness about others' aspects of behavior. They need to be sensitive to the subtle aspects of others' behaviors and feelings. And interpersonal awareness of one's own feelings, motives, and desires. Again, here we can take the example of writers. Then we have naturalistic intelligence, one who is associated with maybe botany or animal life. So anyone who is working at, for example, the National Geographic Channel or Animal World Channel, so those who are quite adept at dealing with the nature, they possess naturalistic intelligence. Then we have existential or spiritual intelligence, so anyone associated with spiritualism and who has attained a certain level of spiritual capability, so they are possessing existential or spiritual intelligence, the mystics, for example. Then we have the teaching pedagogical intelligence. I think that it has huge relevance in the field of teaching. In the field of teaching, teachers need to possess teaching pedagogical intelligence so as to deal with the needs of students. And digital intelligence is a new form of intelligence which is yet to be included in the theory of multiple intelligences. Now we will discuss Sternbergs theory of intelligence. And Sternberg used the term componential analysis, and it is an information processing theory, and it was developed in the year 1984, and it is also known as the triarchic theory of intelligence. Sternberg distinguishes between components and metacomponents. So what are components? Components are steps one goes through to solve a problem. And what are metacomponents? Metacomponents are the kinds of knowledge one has about how to solve a problem. Okay, and metacomponents are highly related to the G factor proposed by Spearman. So here again we have to keep in mind that if there is a question regarding which of the two falls under G factor, components or metacomponents, so we will have to keep in mind that metacomponents are highly related to the G factor proposed by Spearman. Now there are three types of intelligences as proposed by Sternberg. One is the componential or analytical intelligence, which is associated with problem solving ability. Okay, and then we have experiential or creative intelligence. And this is associated with the use of past experiences to solve new problems. So anyone who is creative will have experiential or creative intelligence. Then we have contextual or practical intelligence, and this is the ability to deal with daily problems, and it is also termed as street smartness. So you need not have any other knowledge component for this particular intelligence, for example, the knowledge acquired from books, etc., or the degrees that one attains, but this is something which one possesses to deal with daily problems, or the street smartness, as we call, is included in contextual or practical intelligence. Now we come to the theory given by Goldman, Daniel Goldman. Okay, he gave his theory in the year 1995, and this theory pertains to emotional intelligence. And there are 5 components of emotional intelligence as given by Daniel Goldman. And what are those 5 components? Self-awareness, self-regulation, self-motivation, empathy, and social skills. So self-awareness, the awareness regarding one's own emotions. Self-regulation, the ability to control one's emotions. And then self-motivation, to motivate oneself to understand and regulate one's emotions, as well as pay heed to others' emotions. And then we have empathy, to feel how the other person is feeling, and social skills in order to deal with other people around you. Another theory was given by Das, Kerr, and Perella regarding intelligence, and this theory is also known as the past theory of intelligence, which stands for the planning, attention arousal, and simultaneous successive theory of intelligence. And it was given originally in the year 1975, and it was later expanded by J.P. Das, Jack Naglieri, and Kirby 1994. And it challenges the G theory. Okay, and according to this theory, intellectual activity involves the interdependent functioning of 3 neurological systems called the functional units of brain. And these units are responsible for 3 functions basically, and those 3 functions are attention or arousal, then coding or processing, and planning. So this is what comprises Das, Kerr, and Perella's theory of intelligence. Now let's go through some miscellaneous questions or points from this particular subunit from unit 6. So the first question here is, whose name is associated with anthropometric laboratories meant to measure intelligence? The answer is Galton. Second question, intelligence was measured in these labs by using sensory motor tasks. Number 3, ability tests comprise of both intelligence tests and aptitude tests. Okay, so intelligence tests and aptitude tests together are termed as ability tests. Then we have theories of intelligence based on factor analysis. So if you need to remember certain theories which are based on factor analysis, you can keep in mind the names of Spearman, Thurston, Sternberg. Their theories were developed on the basis of factor analysis. Now here is a sequence-based question where you need to remember the sequence of the timeline of intelligence theories. So such a question was put in one of the NET examinations, I still remember, where I had appeared for the particular examination, and they asked for the correct sequence of when each theory appeared. So according to the ascending order, here we can put the names of the theories given by Galton 1884, Binet 1905, then Spearman 1927, Thurston 1938, Vernon 1950, Guilford 1967, Jensen 1969, Piaget 1970, Brunner 1973, and Sternberg 1984. So it's always handy to remember the year of each and every theories, be it from intelligence or any other topic of psychology such as memory and